Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Mystic Nerd Squad podcast. Kelly Meyerson here, and I am with one of my great friends in the virtual space. We've never met in person, although we were only 2 states away. My friend Marla. Hello, Marla. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Oh my gosh. I want to start by reading your bio because you have an amazing story, an amazing practices that you do and gifts that you share with the world. So I want to share that so people off the top know all the wonderful things that you do. Marla is passionate about inspiring women who are living in survival mode to reclaim their divine power and thrive. She is a critical care nurse, intuitive care provider, and has also participated in coursework to become a Shamanic Reiki Master Practitioner, an Akashic Records Practitioner, and a Kundalini Yoga Practitioner. Oh my gosh, like there's so much juicy deliciousness in that list of things that you're doing. And just as an aside, I love meeting other women who started in the field of medicine and education. So you coming from a nursing background and gravitated towards this world. So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this conversation with you tonight, Marla.
Likewise. Yeah, it's interesting, because people will meet me and they'll be like, "Oh, so you're a nurse?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not your typical nurse. You're not going to get the answers you think you're going to get from me."
I love it.
I will blow your mind.
Yeah, I love that. And of course, you and I both very into accessing the Akashic Records and all of the beauty that comes from that. So I mentioned a minute or so ago that we were a state apart, actually, New York and New Jersey, but you recently made a big move and some big changes in your life.
I did. I get just intuitively guided to do so. Many people ask me, "Oh, what made you choose?" I moved from New York to Tennessee, 15 hours away. And people were like, "Well, what made you choose Tennessee?" And, I'm working on becoming more authentic with everyone I meet. But not everyone is ready to hear my answers, So it's like, oh, well, there's name off a number of things. Homeschooling rules are good. The laws are good here for homeschooling. No state income tax, that kind of thing. And it's gorgeous and all that. But the honest, true answer is that I moved here because I was intuitively guided to move here. There's no, I can't give you a cut and dry answer. It was just, I was following my guidance from within, and I've learned, I'm becoming a better learner with that when I'm guided to just listen, because otherwise life is miserable. So I want to be happy and joyful, and so I'm choosing to follow my intuitive guidance, and just we landed here and it feels amazing. Like the energy in New York had become quite oppressive, and I'm as an intuitive person and an empath, and I could just feel it. It was like stifling, and it was time. Like I had like a premonition for a while, for a number of years, that my time in New York was coming to a close, but it all just fell into place. Like it kind of what that catapulted me forward was with some of the mandates that were being enforced in New York. And so I resigned from my job in the hospital, and I took a big giant leap of faith, because I didn't have anything lined up, but I just knew that I had to follow my intuitive guidance with that also. Like I had to do what was right for me. This was my journey that I needed to do for me. And once I took that leap with nothing set up, a month later, I had a new job working from home, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Like it fell into place. And then it was like, from that, then I was like, oh, well, I think now's a good time to get my apartment ready to sell, and to like working my butt off, and had a little help and got it ready to sell, sold it. And then it's like, okay, it's time to move. Where do we move? Let's see where we land. So played around with some different states initially, and then Tennessee just kept coming up, and we made a few trips down here, my daughter and I, and it just felt aligned, and just knew that this is where we're supposed to be right now.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much for so many different reasons. But I think what's really, truly exciting for me is I sort of started on a similar journey of listening to my intuition and just being like, I'm just going to follow that. For me, it's a very quiet, peaceful guidance. It's not like a do this, do this, do this. If I hear do this, do this, do this, it's coming from my head.
Yes.
Like I know that's coming from my head when it
Yes.
becomes like that energy. But like that beautiful, light, airy energy of, for me, it's don't do chores right now. Go sit and rest. Put your feet up. And like there's that little bit of me that I'm not doing my to-do list. I should be doing my to-do list. Like that very conditioned response. But then I'm like, no, I'm not doing my to-do list. I'm going to go put my feet up. And that the way that I feel when I respond to my intuition by following it instead of fighting it is so refreshing. And I can see and feel the energy coming off of you, that existing in that is such a good, healthy, lighter feeling.
Yeah, so much. I mean, like just being here, we were here not even only a few hours, and we walked into chaos. The apartment that we're renting was not ready like it was promised, but in spite of all that, the energy was so much lighter. And my 9.5-year-old, she was like, well, Mom, let's just focus on the positive. Like we're together and we're safe. And I was like, you're 100% right. All this other stuff, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You know, we had a roof over our heads. We had, a bathroom and, some running water. We were okay. It's a lot better than some people have. So just gaining that perspective, but just the peace, you can't put a price on it. You really can't put a price tag on it. And so the peace and the joy, like, this is genuine. I feel so peaceful and so happy and joyful here. Yeah. Granted, yes, part of it is a choice that I choose to be joyful, no matter what's going on. But I feel it. My emotions and my feelings match up with what my words are saying. Like I just feel so good.
That to me is amazing. So, what you said about what you're saying and what you're actually feeling are in harmony instead of disharmony. I'm thinking about all the times you say to somebody, how are you? And they say, I'm fine. And you're reading them as an empath and you're like, they're not fine. There's a disharmony there, a disconnect from what is actually happening. And it sounds like what you're doing now is so much more in alignment than to be saying one thing and feeling and experiencing a different feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love it. So, as you said, you come from a background in critical care nursing. So many people have walked away from those kinds of jobs in the past few years. I think I heard somebody say that, the pandemic and all the things that have ensued have sort of been almost orchestrated by people feeling unhappy and wanting out. And suddenly there was a way out and just like this mass exodus, and that potentially why we're experiencing such a shortage of workers in different fields, that people were just like fed up and not willing, like you said, the word oppression, like that really resonated with me, that feeling that so many people felt of being oppressed and stuck and unhappy. So I can see the alignment. I can feel the energy that you feel. However, there was a moment that you had to be extremely brave and take that leap before you knew you had a place to land. Yes. So where does that bravery come from? Because I know there's got to be somebody listening who's like, that sounds great, Marla, but how do I take that first step?
It's something you just have to do, like once like I I know, I just knew within myself that, I spent so many years, trying to please other people, meet other people's expectations of me, trying to be who I thought other people wanted me to be. All that shifted and changed over the past 9 years. And now I'm choosing to live authentically and do what I know is in alignment with me. So like all that other stuff that I was doing made me sick. Like I was physically ill. Like I was given a diagnosis of Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease, and pretty much told that, I'll see you in a year for yearly labs and, prescription thyroid replacement. And, you expect to feel like shit and that's it. And I was like, no.
You're like,
no, I'm not.
I don't want to sign up for that.
Yeah, like, no, I'm still young. That's not mine. I'm not claiming this, So going through a process of multiple life-changing events, I came to realize that ultimately I had to heal at an emotional level and work on my healing there and make the changes there and find out who I was and that I'm worthy of love, most importantly from myself. It's okay and it's safe to be authentically me. I'm not going to fit in, but guess what? This lifetime, I was not destined to fit in. I'm destined to be this sparkly rainbow sheep showing the way, changing things, doing things differently, like not going with the flow. Like I am a change maker, whether it's out there loudly or whether it's quietly in the background. I'm here to make change and not to be just, following what everybody else is doing. So I started making those changes and just found like these amazing modalities like the Shamanic Reiki and the Akashic Records and all that. And just as I kept going deeper and further along on my journey, just finding the things that really resonated with me. And then, one of our mutual friends, Laura Mazzata, pointed out to me, she's like, Mar, she's like, you've gone through a lot of shit in your life, but not once have you ever been like destitute or left like, hung out to dry. Like the universe always had your back, always, every step of the way for every single like major earth-shattering life events that happen, you were always taken care of. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. You have a point there. So once I like that really sunk in for me, like I realized I can take those giant leaps of faith, knowing, especially if I'm being intuitively guided, it's not the head stuff like you were mentioning, it's intuitively guiding. This is divine guidance. The universe is guiding me, and the universe is not going to drop me on my ass. Like they're not going to do that. Like I am safe and protected always, and I'm being guided every step of the way. If I choose to follow that, that's even better. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm choosing to follow that. And so, yeah, it is brave. It is. And I'm not going to minimize it for myself because I did a lot of very brave things, but everybody can do it. Like everybody has that within them. And that's one thing like I'm very passionate about, empowering other women, especially other women, to realize that you have that power within you. You can do it. Yeah, it might be scary as fuck, but guess what? You can do it. And fear is not real. Fear is a liar. It's a liar. Call it out. It's a liar. And the truth of the matter is the universe always has your back. You are always loved and supported. Yeah. So it's just, once I really realized that for myself, and it took time. How many hundreds of days I've been writing in my journal every day. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am enough. I am, boundless. All these affirmations to rewire my circuitry in my brain. And it's my reality now. Yeah. It works. It really does work. But you have to want it, and you have to do the work. It's not easy. It doesn't just come, it's not just handed unto you. You have to do the work and be serious about it. Stick with it. You need that consistency, that stick with itness. And your life will change. I promise you, your life will change.
Yeah. I was imagining, when I first jumped into affirmations, like that first time standing with index cards, staring at myself in the mirror, like, I am worthy. I am enough, and going through them and not like, I love how you just call that out as like, it doesn't feel normal, natural, easy in the beginning. It feels awkward and strange, but you have to push through the awkward and strange to get to the point where, I know for me, all of a sudden, one of those messages would pop into my brain of like, you're not worthy, you're not good enough. And I would hear my voice in the mirror saying, I am worthy, I am enough, I am powerful, I am loved, and that would show up in place of those patterns. So you're right, it is truly rewriting those grooves in your brain and changing it. This conditioning that we're all sort of stuck with, we don't have to keep.
Exactly. We have the power, and our words are powerful. Like I don't think we truly grasp how powerful we are, how powerful words are. They call it spelling for a reason. You're writing out spells that you're creating your destiny, whether or not it's intentional, you're doing it. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's so important to be intentional with your words, to make sure you're really like present and like, okay, oh wait, did I want to say that? Cancel. Nope, I take that back. This is what I'm rewriting. So
delete.
Exactly. You can't. I've heard so many teachers say that. Like, you say something and be like, oh, cancel. Nope, cancel. That's not what I'm choosing. And just go forward, and you catch yourself. And then eventually it just becomes second nature that's how you speak, and you speak with empowerment and just claiming your power. It's like, granted, I'm not perfect at it, and I don't, I won't be until who knows when, maybe another lifetime, but it doesn't matter. It's part of the journey, and it's so beautiful owning your power. And also for me to see my daughter owning her power, and then she'll mirror that back to me. And I'm like, wow, she's standing in her power. Like, if she can stand in her power, I sure as hell can stand in my power. Like, yeah, and I'm so grateful. She's like my biggest teacher, just mirroring these beautiful things for me. I'm like, she's being authentic and powerful. Yeah, why aren't I? Like, come on, Mar, you're an adult here. Let's do this. Even though she's an older soul than me, I'd still, in this lifetime, I'm her mom. So
yeah, for a reason.
Come on, Mar.
I think about that though, like, and it's so funny. I was thinking that just as you were saying it, the example that we're setting, not only for young girls, but especially for young girls. And like, imagine if we had been taught to stand in our power as young girls, like, what would have happened? I mean, I own and love every piece of my journey, but I also feel like, what would it have been like to feel worthy and to feel enough and feel strong and capable and to do things because I felt driven and joyful about them, and not because I thought it would make other people pleased and happy. Yeah.
Likewise, I know, like, I'm grateful for every part of my journey, everything. I would not go back and change anything, but I do think about that too. Like, wow, like, how different would my life look? I mean, obviously I know this life, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how, everything is happening for a reason, and as it's, for my highest and greatest good. But yeah, we're healing ourselves, we're healing our future generations and our past, our ancestors. And so we're doing big work, even though, maybe we weren't offered that as a child. We're healing that for so many people. It's not just us that we're healing and that we're changing. And I love it. It's funny too, because sometimes, like, either my daughter will ask me, like, A, why did you marry my dad? Or B, like, how could you have done this? And it's like, all these things happen for a reason, and were catalysts for my growth. and I'm grateful for them.
Mm-hmm.
I would not go back and change that at all. You know, it all happened exactly how it was meant to. And I get to, you know, if I can help at least one person, that's, you know, that's it. And whether that one person is me or whether it's my daughter, it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm helping, you know, and it's changing the world because we're all one. Mm-hmm. We're all interconnected. And when you heal yourself, you're healing everybody, the collective. And so it's just such a beautiful gift. It's such a beautiful, this life is just amazing.
I love it. And you know what? That was a big in for me, because in the moments where I might sort of be like, okay, why am I still like focusing on healing myself? Like, I could be doing so many other things. It's not just for me. It's it's as an example. It's like you said, past, present, future, the collective, like those energies that are going out into the world are significant. Yes. They are making incredible ripples, you know, and we could look at it, flip it on its head, you know, like your daughter said, take the positive approach. All these areas where we're experiencing delays and challenges and industries with not enough workers, like the people who have left those roles are living a more fulfilling life potentially, right? At least I can say the people that I've met who are doing some of the things like you're doing, and just like, no, I'm chasing after joy. I'm going for joy. I don't need to do this anymore. I get to decide not to do this anymore. And that there's change happening. So it is definitely inconvenient for the current paradigms that we've been existing with, but paradigms are shifting.
They are shifting. And also if we can help people realize that there's another way to obtain help and wholeness. It is. I'm not putting down Western medicine, but it's not the only way. There's other ways, and so if we can be way showers and show that there are other ways possible to heal yourselves, the need for Western medicine could perhaps diminish. You know, like anything is possible. Truly, anything is possible. Because like, I'm healing myself from Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I will be free of taking prescription medication for this. I know I will be. I'm almost there. I'm very close. Went from, you know, barely getting off the couch, needing a significant amount of thyroid replacement to I don't take very much anymore, and I have energy. My daughter and I are going out. Like, we were just at the water park, and we were out chasing waterfalls the other day. Like, I live a very active life, and as I'm healing myself emotionally, that I'm able to heal physically, and I claim it. It has happened. It's just I haven't manifested in this timeline, but
yes. Oh my God, I love that you say that. I was just reading something about that the other day, like that, like we get impatient, like we're like, it's not here yet, but you're right, it's not in this timeline yet. It's coming, it's here. It just hasn't fully emerged, you know. But everything is happening in the right timing that it's supposed to.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. 100%. I want to dial you back a minute to, you were talking about healing your emotional self through your feelings and healing modalities in order to heal your physical self. I think this is one of the challenges so many of us face in dealing with chronic illnesses or chronic anything, migraines, pain, back pain, neck pain, whatever it is, you know, food allergies, different diagnoses, just spitting out some of my own, you know, and all of the medication that you can take doesn't often do what it needs to do, because there's a different healing journey that's needed. So tell us a little bit more about that for you, that emotional piece of healing.
Yeah, it just, that really, I was introduced to that concept after I fired that endocrinologist that told me I was going to feel like shit for the rest of my life.
You're like, no, thank you. Goodbye. Exactly. Canceled.
And hired another endocrinologist, and I'm like, no, I know there's a better way, you know? And so found a functional medicine doctor who was amazing, but then she moved. And then I found a homeopathic doctor. And when I was working with the homeopathic doctor, she introduced me to Louise Hay and her book about you can heal, you know, heal your thoughts, heal your life. I'm getting the title wrong, but anyway, there's a book that Louise Hay wrote about that, really pinpointing all these physical symptoms and what the real like emotional root cause is. And that was mind blowing for me. Like, what? what? You know, like, because in Western medicine, you're not taught that at all. You know, you have a symptom, you fix the symptom, and then that whatever you use to fix that symptom causes another symptom, and then you have like this vicious cycle, you know.
Yes.
And so I started going deeper into that, and then didn't get as far with the homeopathic doctor, and she was like, I don't know what else to do for you. So I was like, okay. So then I found a naturopathic doctor, and he was like, you know, we can do tests, we can, you know, do supplements and all that, but really, he said, until you start to heal emotionally, it's just like pouring water into a bucket with holes. And I was like, oh, like that really hit home for me, because for many years, I think I was actually born with it. I think it's an ancestral thing, the money issues, you know, that lack. And I was like, oh shit, I'm wasting all this money on all this stuff and it's pointless, you know? And so I started to take a deeper look at that. And that's when I was introduced to Shamanic Reiki. I worked with a therapist who's a Shamanic Reiki Master Teacher, and she offered a class. And so I took the first, you know, Shamanic Reiki one, and I was at home. And I'm like, this is what one of the things I'm supposed to do. One of the things I'm meant to do in this lifetime, you know, like I know I've done it in other lifetimes, like this really resonates, you know? So that was like the start of it. And then it just progresses. Like not to say like you leave one thing, but sometimes I still, you know, use Reiki, and I still think Reiki is amazing. But then you get to introduce to other modalities too that just resonate. And just for me, I know I'm going to be a lifelong learner. It's in my charts. It's like astrologically, like I'm destined to that, you know, and I love to learn. And I know I'm going to be adding more things to my tool belt, you know, but it's just doing that inner work, and then going into the Akashic Records, and then, you know, doing Kundalini Yoga and learning astrology stuff, and like all this, like just it's all tying together, but and really seeing how on an emotional level, when you do that deep inner work, your outer world shifts significantly. Like who I am right now, like if you saw me or spoke with me even 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, this is not who you would have seen. Like I was not a vibrant, healthy woman. And there's always room for growth. So I know, you know, haven't, you know, reached the pinnacle, but the progress, like I can't even, it's hard to put words to it, because it's just, it's been so transformational for me just to see. And I can look back now and see, like, wow, I came, you know, came a long way, baby. You know, it's like, totally. Wow, you know, like I'm in awe of it myself, and I want to share it with other people. I want them to know it's possible. I want everybody to know it's possible, you know, and while also honoring their journeys, you know. I'm not shoving it down anybody's throat, but, you know, sometimes just planting that seed, and, you know, being a power of example, and saying, you know, like, this works. It definitely works. You have to want to do it. Nobody can do it for you. You heal yourself. Healers are there to help guide you. We don't heal you. You do the healing. We're, you know, hold space for you and help guide you and offer the intuitive guidance. But I think it's important for people to realize that they have the power within themselves to do the healing. You are your own healer. You are your own guru. You are the answer. You are your own answer right there, you know?
Yep, I do. And to me, like that, you know it when you know it.
Yes.
When you finally wake up one day and you're like, oh, I get it.
Yes.
It's all in me already. I don't have to go out there to get it. And all the out there that you do just brings you back here.
Yes.
Brings you straight in. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, for me, you know, when I started dabbling in Akashic Records, first I had my records read for me, right? Mm-hmm. And then discovered, oh, I can do my own. Like I can go into my own. So I started doing that. And it's just like, it's, for me, I have a whole world that I go into that changes and ebbs and flows. But it's just, I get so much information that comes through. And it just feels so good to be there. What's your experience like with the Akashic Records?
Yeah, it feels really good. And I know everybody experiences it differently, you know, and different guides can bring forth different information. But yeah, it's such a soothing, empowering, I'm sorry, my phone's making weird noises.
It's okay.
It just feels amazing. It feels so amazing to sit there and just, you know, even just sit there and take an Akashic Records bath, just like to sit in the energy of it, not even going in with an agenda, just opening the records just to hang out, because it just feels so good and it's healing in and of itself, just that, you know. And then who knows what comes through? You never know. You never know.
You never know. I always have my notebook because it's funny because sometimes I'll start to get guidance and like I'll be retaining so much and my guides will be like, you could write it down. It's okay. Pick up your notebook, take a sip of coffee. Go ahead. We'll wait. We'll keep it coming.
Right. Exactly. I think also it's important to like let go of the attachment to the outcome going into it, you know, just like remain curious and open to whatever and however it shows up, because I found for myself when I am so attached to how I think things should turn out, that's kind of like experiencing this, you know, great sadness and heartache. And it's like when I can just surrender into it and stay curious and what if anything is possible? What if this is what it's meant to be? You know, ask these what if questions, and what if nothing's wrong? Mm-hmm. What if this is all exactly what I need? You know, what if, and just kind of bypassing the ego mind, you know, with asking the what ifs instead of saying, you know, sometimes it's harder for that ego mind to process, you know, that I am, you know, like I am abundant, and the ego mind is like, yeah, shit, you are, like, you know, whatever, you know. And then when you start asking, like, what if it's possible for me to have, you know, X, Y, Z? What if it's possible for me to experience this? What if it's possible for me to live an abundant life? And then things start shifting, and then you kind of realize, you know, for me, one of the big things was gratitude. Like I have this daily gratitude practice that I started after reading Thank and Grow Rich by Pam Grout. Amazing book, amazing. And that shifted things for me. That changed my life. That literally changed my life. Being consistent with my gratitude practice every day, writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And for me, it was important to have accountability because, you know, if nobody is there helping, you know, seeing if I'm doing
Nobody's checking in.
Like, you know, oh well. And so I have this, you know, Facebook Messenger group that some of my friends have invited, and they've added friends, and it just kind of grows. Some people contribute, some people don't. But for me, it's my journey of what I'm doing, of being grateful every day, coming up with, you know, the things to be grateful for. And it can be as simple as, I'm grateful that I can breathe unrestricted. I'm grateful that I have indoor plumbing. You know, I'm grateful for, like, these things that we take for granted. And it's like, no, like, I have an abundant life. Yes. I am richly blessed with I have an amazing life. You know, somebody may look at me and be like, oh, but you don't have, you know, you don't drive this kind of car, you don't have these kind of, that's not what makes me abundant and rich. Like, I am truly rich and blessed. My life is amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
And I've created it. And you can too.
I know. I love it. I
You know?
love it so much, Marla. I'm thinking about like, yeah, like the car thing and I mean, for some people maybe that is blessings and abundance,
Mm-hmm.
but if you've ever had your electricity go out and not had air conditioning, or your toilet backs up and it's not working, or you have a cold and you're congested and you can't breathe, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I really had it good. I want it
Yes,
back.
exactly.
So it's those very simple things: being able to walk, being able to breathe,
Yeah.
having a bed, having a pillow, being able to sleep someplace safe and not have to
Yes.
be worrying for your well-being all the time. I mean, there are so many. I and once you set that intention, do you find that like you're kind of logging things as you go through the day? That's going in my gratitude journal, that I'm going to come back and be grateful for that.
I just generally just will say it. Like, you know, I'll start off my morning. Generally, I start off with doing my, you know, three things in my gratitude journal that I then post in the group. But then throughout the day, I'm just like, wow, like, look at those clouds. Like, wow, like, this is like, thank you. Like, this is just so amazing, you know, and I'm just so grateful. And my daughter was like, why are you saying thankful? Because I'm grateful. I am so grateful. And I want to instill that also with her, but, you know, she's on her journey. So I'm going to live my life with gratitude. And, you know, just, wow. It is rubbing off on her though, because she was the one that pointed out, let's be grateful that we're together, you know? So it's just so beautiful. And that's something that it's a simple way to start. You know, that's something that I would highly encourage people to do. People are like, oh, I'm grateful. Sit down and write it down. The act of writing it out is something shifts, you know, something shifts in your brain. And then you start to notice, you know, more things like, oh yeah, wow, yes, I'm really grateful for that. You know, one of the most fun things I love to do is go on a gratitude rampage. One of the groups I was in, the leader recommended that, like, you just walk through your home, just look around your home and just be like, everything you see, just express gratitude for it. And like, once you start going, you're just like, oh my God, this is so fun, you know. And then you can be kind of like, you know, feeling a little. Once you finish, you will be on a high, like, and you're just like, wow, I could keep going, like, you know, just let's go and walk outside now, you know. It's like,
what's outside? What could we be grateful
exactly.
of? Oh my gosh, I
Exactly.
love that.
It's so fun.
I've totally done that when I didn't know it was gratitude rampage, but I've totally done that when I can't sleep. Like I start at my feet and go up to my head, and then like, what's in my bedroom, what's in my house, what's outside, what's in my neighborhood, and like I just keep going bigger until I fall asleep. That's like one of my tricks for falling asleep. There you go, folks. Another tip and trick. Gratitude rampage helps you fall asleep.
Awesome.
So tell me a little bit about what is it that, now that you've moved to Tennessee, you're in a different place, you've shifted the way that you're working, you're living a more joy-filled life. So what are you doing, being you, to work towards this overall healing and helping people on their own intuitive journeys?
Really focusing on me even more, just really leaning into who I am. Like you mentioned, going and resting earlier, like when you have a to-do list. For me, I'm a projector, like, you know, from the human design, and I am meant to rest. I am meant to just be like, no, today I'm not going to, you know, and listening to my body's cues and honoring that. Like, I find that I'm shifting so much by focusing on me right now. I really am. I'm just really making sure that I'm showing up authentically, calling in these beautiful soul connections. Like, I I love it. It makes my heart so happy, you know, and even people that I'm meeting down here, just really being intentional with calling them in and building a community, to be able to be of support to, especially, like, I'm definitely passionate about single moms, especially single moms coming from an abusive relationship. Like, there's something about being in that space that you feel very isolated and helpless. And I just want to be like, no, you're not helpless. You're not alone. Like, I've been there. There's so many of us that have been there, and, you know, just to, like, also help release the stigma around it, you know, like, so divorced, bankrupt, like, you know, abusive relationship, all this stuff, like, there's all this stigma. No, I'm not going to be, like, keeping that, like, locked down. Like, I'm going to share that. There's so much freedom in sharing. Yeah, at one point, this XYZ, but now look, like, you can shift it. You're not alone. And just helping provide resources for women in that space. And even, like, one thing that I really want to do down here is to have, like, offer, like, sound baths. I have this gong behind me. Let's see which way do I turn. Anyway,
it's like straight behind you.
Straight behind me. But she's amazing, and the energy from that, like, yeah, I could use that in a healing session and have, you know, it's something that I would charge for, but I want to be able to give back also, to be like, here, come, you know, lay on a yoga mat outside, like the trees around us, and just let the sound energy provide healing, you know, in a safe space and build community. And I think that's one thing lately with what's been happening. There's been a lot of division and separateness, and as cliche as it sounds, love is the answer, and coming back in unity, realizing that we are all one. We're all in this together, you know?
Yeah.
So helping bring back the unity and the love, just really pouring out that love. That's just means so much to me. I'm very passionate about that. But, you know, also adding in, I'm going to be doing some workshops with, I do tantric malas. I create tantric malas. And so I'm going to be offering more of those this year. I did my first one I think it was last year or earlier this year. I can't remember now, like the time kind of, you know, I feel like I've jumped some timelines, so I'm not 100% sure what it was.
No worries.
But yeah, exactly. I did it. But that's, like, when I am in that creative flow, working with the crystals, and then the tantric malas have sacred geometry, and there's just this powerful, how do I describe it? It's a powerful experience, but then you end up with a powerful piece that's also beautiful. And just being a part of that and helping other people create them also is just, I feel like this is also something that I'm meant to do in this lifetime. It just feels natural for me, and it feels so good, like, to be in that creative space. And that's what I've been trying to be more mindful of, what lights me up, and let's go do more of that, you know? Like, so creating tantric malas lights me up. Reiki lights me up. Like, all this stuff, like, let's share this beautiful energy to help other people. Yeah, it makes me feel good.
I love it. I love it so much. And, you know, I think one of the coolest things about a lot of these practices that you're sharing, they are accessible right now, immediately. No shopping necessary. Like, you can just, you can start practicing affirmations in the mirror, writing them down. You can start a gratitude journal. You can create that joy list for yourself of the things that really light you up, and then do them more. You can choose to rest over working.
Yes.
And I love that you said you're a projector. I think there is such an opportunity for projectors to be better understood in terms of their human design. I'm a manifesting generator, and I think we can also be misunderstood too, because people think like you're just lightning fast and you can do all the things and you have all the energy, but not if I'm not, one, resting and replenishing myself, and two, if I'm not choosing things that light me up. You know, if I'm just saying yes to everything, I'm like a burned out Energizer bunny. There's no batteries there. So I don't have anything to give. But if I choose the things that light me up, then I have all the energy I need for it. But it's that discernment that's really important.
Yeah. And, that speaks to balance, right? Like with anything, I think it doesn't matter what your human design is, like you still need to have balance, like the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. There's always, you want to have that balance. I'm a Libra sun, so I'm all about the balance too. But it's so important, I think, because when you have something more of one than the other, you're going to see things out of balance in your world too. So, really trying to be mindful and looking at that and saying like, oh, wait a second, XYZ is happening. This doesn't feel comfortable. What's going on? Like, is this, what am I doing more? Am I like, going crazy, doing all the things? Like, okay, it's time to say, no, let's sit on the couch and either watch a movie, or let's just sit on the couch and do something, or let's just sit outside in nature, just finding the things that are going to fill you back up, and help you find that balance, because I think that's so important. And definitely there's a time for that go, but there's also a time to chill. And I think we have so many tools available for us for that too, to help, like the moon cycles, right? There you go. Like if you can tune into the moon and her cycles, you'll see how it aligns with your body cycles, and you'll see, the synchronicities and that, this is what phase the moon is going into. Oh, this is when it's a good time to rest. This is like, this is when it's a good time to go and do, so just really being mindful and working with the tools that we're given instead of against them. It's huge. It's huge. And we're saying things that don't cost a lot of money, if anything, so there's tools for people that might say, if they're in that space that lack, don't have the money for this, I'm not going to be able to do any of my healing because I don't have the money. No, that's excuse isn't working there. Sorry. You can do this. You can heal yourself even if you don't think you have the financial resources. We just gave you a bunch of tips, a bunch of tools that are free. You just have to decide you want to do it. You have to decide that this is something you're going to commit to. But you can, there's so many things that we have offered to us that don't cost a thing, that you can shift and change and heal. And then as you're bringing in more abundance into your life, then you can, afford to go do something else, but you're limited by, you limit yourself. Like really, you're unlimited ultimately, but any limitations that you see are self-placed.
Totally. Totally true. And what I find funny is like the deeper I get into my healing journey, the more authentic and in my integrity I feel, the less I want anything. Like literally always like giving things away, purging, I want empty space and like space between things and peace and ease.
It's so true. Like that was one thing, like with the move, people are like, oh my God, moving sucks. It doesn't suck. It is a very powerful time. It might be a little bit challenging sometimes, but just the things that I got rid of that no longer served me, like that was incredible in and of itself. I'm like, wow. And even now, like looking around, like stuff's still in boxes, like we're in a smaller space than we were in New York. And I'm like, I'm ready to start going through some boxes and being like, do I really Like, do I really want this? Do they really, really, really want this? Like, am I really, really, really going to use it? Or am I just holding on to it because of the lack mentality of like, oh, I have to hold on to it because, what if I need it sometime? And then no, if I'm not using it and I don't need it, I can release it. And then if I ever need it again, it will come to me. Mm-hmm. Just knowing that my needs are always met. My needs are always met. So I can release that whole, lack and hoarding mentality. And, you're right. Like there is something legitimately to feng shui, and like with having, things released and not touching, having that space in between items is really important, for the energy flow and everything. Like it was incredible when my ex-husband had moved out of the home we shared, and I did a feng shui overhaul of my apartment. That change was palpable. Like one of my friends walked in and she was like, wow, it feels completely different in here.
What did you do?
Like, yes, exactly. I feng shui this place, and the consultant that I worked with is amazing. Jess Neary, she's in Canada, and she's just held such beautiful space while I cleared stuff and moved things. And like, it's amazing what that does though. Like shifting that energy, like, yeah. So I'm with you. Just release what no longer serves you. And if you need it, guarantee you it will come back to you when you need it. Like you don't have to like hold on to it out of like, oh, fear, like what if I need it? Well, what if let go of that attachment? It's so freeing and so empowering too. Like
it really is.
Like you're reclaiming your power again. And also, leaning into trust, knowing that the universe does have your back. They will never just drop you on your ass. I guarantee you they won't. And you will always be cared for. And so just, when you can lean into that and trust that, it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love this so much. And I feel everything you're saying. I'm hoping that as people are listening, they're just super inspired to just start small. And it made me think of a quote, and I can't remember who the quote is by, but it's that doing isn't hard, deciding is. So that moment that you were like, this is what I'm doing, and that's it, and moving forward from there, it's no longer difficult.
Right.
It's because you made the decision and you got in alignment with what you were going to do, and that was it. So now all you have to do is be in alignment with that decision that feels authentic and right for you. And I think that is being guided by your intuition. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This has been such a beautiful conversation. I feel so motivated and excited and renewed in like some of these practices that maybe I'm not so consistent with, but jumping back into them. How can people connect with you? Where can they find you on social media? And of course, I'll put everything in the show notes as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So I have a website, www.intuitivecarewithmarla. So that's the online thing. If you're not on social media, you can still find me online. And then on Instagram, it's at intuitive_care_. And I also have on Instagram, Marla's Malas. So at Marla's Malas. And then on Facebook, Intuitive Care with Marla. And then I also have a group called Soul Purpose Alchemy Community. So a safe space for people to come together and just be supported and grow and heal themselves and claim their power, step into their power.
I love it. I love it so much. This has been such a pleasure talking to you. I look forward to seeing where you land next and what happens next for you. But I'm also just grateful for your friendship, grateful for a great conversation about where we are. And it just feels so good, so yummy, so exciting, and hopefully we just woke a few more people up and we're like, exactly. They're like, all right, starting my gratitude list tonight.
Yeah, it's worth it, and if you want the accountability, feel free to reach out to me and I can add you to the messenger group. It just, there's, like I said, not everybody posts every day. I try to post every day. I've missed a few here and there, but just even if you don't post in there, but that is a reminder for you when you get that notification. Oh, hey, Marla posted. Oh yeah, let me go do that. I'm happy to cheerlead John with this, because like I said, it has been life-changing for me, and I can't recommend it enough. I really can't, because that is one of the most simple things, but it is one of the most powerful things. It's incredible.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being with me, for having this conversation, for being a good friend. And you are a very good cheerleader. I feel super motivated hearing you speak. So your message is received.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Yay.
Oh, and enjoy your time in Tennessee. And I can't wait to see where you end up next.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. So much love.
Welcome. So much love right back at you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.